Hello, AniTime here. Today, I will show you the recap of a 2011 anime titled From Up on Poppy Hill. Spoiler alert, watch out and take care. Umi Matsuzaki is a 16-year-old girl who lives at a boarding house with her siblings under the care of their grandmother. She wakes early to take care of all the occupants in the house, and after which, she raises a signal flag that says, "I pray for a safe voyage." That morning, as she finishes all her duties, she walks to school, and when she enters, her classmates show her a new article published by a member of the school's literary club, appreciating her for lifting the flag. Umi reads a deep meaning to this post. During the school break, as they all eat outside the school, all the club students use the Clubhouse campaign that their Latin Quarter clubhouse shouldn't be shut down. They raise flags, and the article's writer, Shun Kazama, jumps into the water as part of the campaign. Umi hurriedly goes to help Shun's house, but when she sees everyone following her with cameras, she drops his hands and falls again. That evening at home, her grandmother calls her. Her grandmother appreciates her work of raising the flag every day, and when she leaves her grandmother's house, she goes to pull down the flag she had raised, and she imagines Shun on the flag. At home, she reads the poem again and imagines the meaning of that poem. The next day, pictures that were taken for the campaign had been pasted everywhere in school. Shun's pictures are also being sold. Sora, Umi's sister, buys Shun's picture and begs Umi to follow her to the clubhouse to get Shun's autograph. Umi refuses at first, but due to Sora's persistence, she eventually goes with her. As they enter the clubhouse, they meet the philosophical club master who tries to coerce them into his club, and they also meet the students of the chemistry club who pour their chemicals everywhere. They eventually get to the literature club in a room shared with the archaeology club. As they enter, the head of the archaeology club, Mizunuma, welcomes them in, and Sora asks Shun to sign her picture. As Shun signs, Umi sees an injury on his hand. She asks if the injury is a result of the last day's jump, but Shun replies otherwise. He says a cat caused the injury. Mizunuma asks Umi to help Shun draw the stencils, since all the students in the club are busy with campaigns. Umi refuses at first, but when Mizunuma offers her his cheat questions for the test, she accepts to draw it. Mizunuma sees Sora off the clubhouse, so the philosophical clubmaster would harass her again, while Umi remains in the room to draw for Shun. Later, Mizunuma arrives to call Shun for the anti-demolition meeting. He asks Umi to join, but she says she's late for home. Since she's done with what she needs to draw, she hurriedly leaves for home. As she returns, she starts cooking. However, she notices there's no more pork, so she calls her younger sibling, Riku, and Sora to help her buy some pork, but they refuse to go because they want to watch their favorite show, so she decides to go herself. Luckily, she finds Shun riding by her house. Shun offers to ride her to the market. Accepting the offer, she asks him about the stencil, but he says he hasn't finished printing and will finish up the next day. She attempts to ask him about the poem, but the environment isn't conducive for such conversations. He gets her to the market, buys some snacks, and then starts riding home. The next day, she enters the room of a housemate who's a painter. The lady draws a nice painting of their environment, including her flags and some people who come to check her flags daily. She gets to school that day, and she meets Shun, who gives her a copy of what she wrote for him. She's about to talk about the poem again, but the bell rings. While they both run to class, Shun invites her to the school's evening debate. She refuses the offer and goes to class. As she enters the class for the club meeting, she realizes the meeting has been suspended due to the debate, and her sisters also ask her to attend the debate, but she refuses because Tomako is on leave, and she wants to spend the day with Tomako. As she walks home, she feels the urge to attend the debate. She returns to school and joins them in the school hall. The moderator of the debate insists that 80% of the students have voted for the clubhouse to be demolished and rebuilt, but Shun insists that if it's demolished, then all the old memories will go with it too. The debate turns into a fight, and they reconcile with the school song. On Shun and Umi's way home, Umi advises that Shun and the others should renovate the clubhouse and make it nearer, then invite people that called for the demolition to see. Tomako is graduating, and she's also organizing a farewell party. She suggests that some of Umi's schoolmates should be invited to the party. On the party day, Shun attends. Umi takes Shun around their house. She tells him the house was built about 60 years ago, but it still looks new because how it's taken care of. He asks about her mother, a professor studying in the United States. She tells him how her grandparents were against her mother's union, and her mother had to elope with her sailor husband. Her father taught her how to raise the flags, because he said it made him find his way home. So she continued even after her father's ship sank during the Korean War. When she relocated there was no place to raise her flags, and she was very sad until her grandmother helped her build a flagpole. She showed him their family picture, which Shun looked at suspiciously before her sisters called her for the party's closing speech. That night, as Shun gets home, he goes to his shelf and takes out the same picture Umi has. The next day, Umi takes all the students in the school to help in the renovation of the Latin Quarter's clubhouse. That day, they all worked hard to put Latin Quarters in good shape. In the process of repairs, Shun and Umi fall in love. One day, Shun takes the photo of his father and accuses his father that Yuichiro Sawamura is his birth father. At first, his father refutes the accusation, but he later confesses that Yuichiro one night brought him to their house, and it was around the time he and his wife lost their child, so they decided to adopt him. He also says Shun reminds him of Yuichiro. This affects Shun's relationship with Umi at school. Throughout the day's repair, Shun doesn't relate with Umi. While they walk back home silently, Shun tells Umi what he knows. He says it may be like a melodrama to her, but he's gone to confirm in the name registration diary, so they should both take away their feelings since they are siblings. That night is a tough one for Umi. She sleeps sad, and everyone in the house notices. She dreams about her mother and her father. However, she returns to her usual self the next morning. She starts relating well with Shun and, in fact, asks him to help in writing. Eventually, their hard work pays off, and the good news of the Latin Quarters travels far and near, and even the test predictions are right. They finish their renovation and ring for the principal to check their work. However, the principal refuses. He still wants to demolish the quarters. While some students suggest they should mob the principal's office, Shun suggests they visit the chairman in Tokyo and explain to the chairman. Shun and Mizunuma plan to leave for Tokyo the next day. The following day, Umi joins them at the bus stop. She tells them she has been excused from school and would like to follow them. They all leave for Tokyo. They get to Chairman Tokumaru's office, and the receptionist tells them they do not have an appointment, but the secretary asks them to enter. The secretary asks them to sit because Tokumaru is very busy. Later that evening, Tokumaru gets opportune to meet them. He asks Umi who her father is, and she says her father is a sailor who died during the war. Tokumaru comments that Umi's mother did a great job in training her. The kids plead with Tokumaru to check out the renovated hall, so he agrees to visit the next day. As they leave, Mizunuma excuses himself and leaves Shun and Umi together. On their way, Umi tells Shun that she has always kept the flag up to talk to her father, and she believes it's her father who sent Shun to her. She reminds him of her feelings for him and says she doesn't care if they're siblings, but she won't ever leave him. He expresses his feelings for her too, before they depart for the night. At home, Umi meets her mother. After their welcome time, they depart to sleep. That night, Umi comes to meet her mother. She tells her mother that her schoolmate Shun visited their home during the farewell service, and she showed him her father's picture. She said Shun also had the same picture, and he claimed her father was also his father. Umi's mother brings out the same picture. She said that after she eloped with her husband, he was busy sailing, and she was also a student, so she was always busy. However, one night, her husband brought a baby home. The baby belonged to his colleague, Tachibana, and he told her Tachibana died in an accident, and his wife also died during childbirth. He offered to register the child under their name, so he won't be an orphan. However, she was very busy, and she couldn't train the children at once, so he took the boy to his friend. As she finishes her story, Umi asks her what she would do if the boy belonged to her husband. She says she would like to meet him. They shed tears and hug each other. The next day, Tokumaru comes to check the wall. He goes around and asks the students what they feel. At about the same time, Shun receives a call from his father. He tells him the third man in the picture is at his deck, and the man will leave soon, so he should come and hear his father's story. Tokumaru decides to leave the building. He says he will construct his new building elsewhere. All the students appreciate Umi's help, and Shun comes to drag her. They both find their way to the sea, where the man tells them he's friends with their fathers, and the three of them are best friends. The man affirms that they aren't siblings. They wish the man goodbye as he leaves, and they happily look at each other. Ending the movie, Umi goes to raise her flag. Thank you for watching the recap. Kindly subscribe to our channel to get notified when we post the next recap. See you next time.